What's up, guys? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. I'm also going to talk about some key levels to watch for as time goes on for today. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below, or use my QR code right here to sign up. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 of free Nvidia stock. If you deposit $2,000, you're going to get $50 worth of Nvidia. Deposits $10,000 to get $300 worth of the stock, or deposit $50,000 to get $1,000 of free Nvidia. You're also going to qualify for a 3.6% APY base rate plus a 4.5% APY extra for 3 months, making it a total of an 8.1% APY. The offer ends very soon, so please check out my link down below to sign up. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the market. So as far as SPY is going, as you guys can tell, we've been making higher highs and higher lows. But as soon as we touched the 686 area, we came back down again. Now we're trying to hold support. So we're very choppy still when we look at the pre-market and for now, right? We're very, very choppy. If you look at SPY, we were just chopping around up here pretty much the whole time. And right now we're just continuing to be range bound between very close to the 685s and 682 is our main support. We're still just chopping around. Now the question is, will we get some kind of rug pull, or does the market continue to run higher, or are we just going to chop around? As of right now, it looks like we're very choppy, but there is some data coming out. Today is Friday, December 5th, 2025. At 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the September PCE data coming out. That will be the latest piece of inflationary data. We're basically expecting all the numbers to be the same as before, with a slight increase on the year-over-year data. And then for core PCE, we're expecting it to be about the same. So we're expecting, for the most part, PCE to be basically the same. And then we also have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report coming out. That could also cause a little bit of volatility. It'll let us know how consumers are feeling and what the expectation is for inflation. So that could also cause a little bit of volatility for the markets. Otherwise, we're just kind of like range bound right now. Besides that, there's not really much else that's coming out. I think there's a new deal that came out between Netflix and Warner Bros. And besides that, I'm just not really seeing anything else that's too significant, at least on the news, that we haven't gone over already. And then on top of this, we're seeing headlines about how today could be a make or break for the markets, depending on the price action that we see so far. So we will see if there's going to be a true direction, especially once we get the PCE data. And that could be very important, at least according to headlines. But we'll see if that causes volatility or not. And then last but not least, for our options chain, keep in mind that we have a 3.76 puts to call option ratio. Max pain is currently at 678, but that could be subjected to change. So far, there's lots of puts expiring, so we're going to see how the market makers play this. They might just chop us around to hurt the premiums, but we'll see just to be safe. So if we're bullish, okay, you want to see us basically hold above, just get back to like 686 and hold in the 686s. If we could hold this, we could attempt to go closer to all-time highs. Okay, if we're bearish, you want to see us essentially lose support at 682. If the 682s do not hold for 4 hours, we could be looking for 678 or below. As of right now, it looks like we're in the middle. It looks like we might kind of pop a bit, come back down to 682 and just bounce between supply and demand. And then we're going to see which way we break, if we go higher or if we get that big rug pull. There is a bearish divergence developing on the 4-hour time frame, which does give us the risk of downside in the future. But as of right now, there's no clear direction, and we're looking very choppy in the pre-market. So the odds favor a lot of chop for today, unless we end up losing support. We're range bound until we break one of these directions, so keep that in mind. On the QQQ, it's the same thing. Essentially, we're range bound, but notice that we are also at this resistance at 625. If we break out of the 625s and we could close above them, we're going to be looking for an attempt for 629 to fill our gap over here. There's a gap to fill over here if we break past the 626s and we continue to hold above that. If we reject, however, and if we end up losing essentially 618, the low we saw right here from Wednesday, if that fails us, I could be looking for 615 or below. As of right now, if you look at the last 3 days, we kind of like bounced, rejected, bounced, rejected, bounced, rejected, and bounced and rejected. We could be dipping back down to like 618, back up to 625, and we may just consolidate like this. And we're going to see if we break out higher, if we get that big rug pull. But keep in mind, there is a bearish divergence, and that could cause some volatility. On the IWM Russell 2000, we have this tough resistance at 252. Why do I say that? Well, look at the chart. We rejected 2 times off 252. When you look very closely at this, we also have a bearish divergence on the MACD. So if we break 252, we could try to push for 255, but if we can't break this, if we consolidate here, there is a risk of us returning back down to 248 or below on the Russell if we get that rejection. On ES, we're just range bound right now. We're not necessarily bullish or bearish. We're testing support. If we break 6,900, we're bullish, but if we lose 6,823, we could be turning back down to 6,780. So watch and see what happens as we dip to the lower 6,800s. We could consolidate like this, and we're going to see if we get a rejection. If we're about to form kind of like a left shoulder, head and right shoulder for an inverse head and shoulders, we'll see if that ends up being the case or not. So be very patient, and we'll see how it goes. On NQ, NQ is basically kind of flat right here. We have 25,750 is our resistance. We have support down here at 25,500. We could be dipping a bit more right here, and we're going to see if we bounce or not. We're kind of like range bound, so I do anticipate some sideways price action. But we're going to see if we get a dip or not, as we could be forming an inverse head and shoulders. As of right now, I like to be variant biased and see which way we end up going, but the market still remains range bound. Bitcoin showing some weakness. We're looking at 90,770 is our support. We need to bounce off that. If we don't, there is a risk of Bitcoin dipping back down to like the 88,000 area. Tesla pumped up to about 455. We're going to be testing 450 as our support. If that fails, we're looking for 444. But if we get back above 455, we're looking for a bounce. We're going to see if Tesla rejects here. Watch 450 to see if it holds. If not, we could be turning back down. Nvda has resistance at 185. We need to hold that to be bullish. If we don't, we could be returning to 182 and 180. Appl has kind of like a head and shoulders. Unless we hold above 281, we could be dipping to 278. On Palantir, we have this divergence. We're going to see if we hold above 178. If not, we're looking for 175. On AMD, we also have a head and shoulders. Unless we hold above 217, we could be dipping back down to 212. On Coinbase, we have support at 270. This needs to hold. If not, we could be dipping to 265. On Amazon, we have a head and shoulders. We're making lower highs here, so we're going to see if we could hold 230. If we don't, we could be looking at 226. Meta is rejecting near 666. We need to hold above this to push. If we don't, we're going to be at risk of dipping to like 650. We're just consolidating right now. Google is also consolidating. We're going to see if 318 holds. If not, we're looking for like 315. And then Microsoft is making lower highs as a double top rejection. Unless we hold above 483, we could be dipping to 475. Finally, the VIX, it has a bullish falling wedge, but we're going to see if this breaks out, today or next week. Or if it doesn't, of course, this could also be a trap. So be very unbiased and wait and see if we get some kind of break. For now, the market does look kind of choppy. There's a little bit of weakness this morning, I do admit that, but overall, there's no clear direction yet on SPY and the QQQ. So watch your levels to see if we break resistance or if we lose support, at least for now. And let's wait and see what happens at 10 a.m. once we get all this data. Pretty much today, there's not really much coming out except for this 10 a.m. data. Then we'll see how the market closes due to the options chain. But that's it for the agenda for today. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Please have an awesome rest of your guys' days, and peace out.